That's it. That's the castle Tinkerbell flies out of before the movies.
You know what's funny about the George Lopez show? I mean it funny in an almost ironic way. George and Benny are usually at each other's throats. The way Benny raised George is often brought up because George just can't seem to get over it, and Benny just can't seem to apologize for everything that she did. By the end of the episode, you're often questioning yourself why they don't just go to therapy and why they just keep adding laugh tracks to all this stuff that's going down, right?
Why are you stealing my food?
I'm not stealing it. The way Angie cooks, I'm rescuing it.
Every now and then, though, the show throws you an episode where they remind you that George and Benny are mother and son.
Having fun yet? No! Having fun yet, Mom? No! Not now!
They're not perfect, they're not magically healed, not suddenly healthy, but they are real. And George Goes to Disneyland is probably that episode that highlights this the most, because it's not about rides, it's not about, that contest that they had where you had to find Mickey's in the scenes. It's not about Carmen and Zach starting to secretly date. It's about George realizing that the childhood that he missed out on is something that he can actually get back, and that surprisingly, he can actually enjoy a day with the one person that he continuously blames for missing it. Before we get into the episode, guys, we hit 4,700. Thank you guys so much. I'm telling you, we're very close to 5K, and it feels amazing. Thank you guys for enjoying it. All right, enough of the chit chat. Let's get into the episode.
Special happened to Max at school today, and he wants to talk to you about it.
Next time it happens, just get a stack of books and put them in your lap, and remember that God or Santa could be watching.
The episode starts off with Max being rewarded for being the most improved special ed kid.
I won most improved special ed student of the month.
Hey, that's great, buddy.
And Angie wants to give him a huge prize for this, which honestly makes sense. She's proud of Max for proving that, his hard work is paying off and for not giving up.
So what do you say that we celebrate, huh? Anything you want.
Mom's taking me to Disneyland next Saturday, and I want to know if you can come this time.
Saturday, huh?
You're not sick, and you don't have to work.
And so Angie rewarding him is actually a great parenting move. But the moment George hears Disneyland, it's like, instead of being happy for Max, he begins to act weird.
Thanks. You got me there. Okay, Disneyland it is.
Great!
It gets so bad to the point where George is immediately going to start coming up with reasons for not going.
Hey, why don't you kids shut up before your mom sends me on a golf weekend without my family? Don't you do it.
So much, in fact, that he actually tricks Max and Angie and basically the whole entire family with the help of Ernie and Ricky that, apparently there is a court hearing and George needs to be there as character witness for Ernie.
Man, am I glad I caught you. Listen, social services moved up Ricky's foster care hearing to today.
Now, he begins to explain that he doesn't want to go because he hates crowds.
You don't want your friend Ricky to end up in a bad home, do you, Max? It looks like I'm not going to be able to go to Disneyland with you.
And it really sucks when his plan falls on its face.
You guys are going to Disneyland? I want to go.
Got your hearing, Ricky.
Yeah.
There's no hearing. Ernie wanted me to lie to get Mr. Lopez out of something.
Because Max gets to see just how much George is willing to do just not to go to Disneyland, even if that means hurting Max's feelings.
Look, Max, I'll make it up to you, man. We can go anywhere. I'll see.
Now, this next scene honestly always rubs me the wrong way, but I'm just...
Okay, if 20 years from now Max has a good enough job that he can afford a therapist, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna go down to whatever bar Carmen is working at and we're gonna celebrate.
Now, once the family leaves, George is left home alone. I'm not entirely sure why Benny is just coming over to steal their food. It's like she's way too comfortable. And it's almost like George is thinking, why does Max get to have that when I never did?
I just hurt my son because I wouldn't go to Disneyland. And do you want to know why?
Could you leave it on my answering machine?
Because you ruined it for me.
And it's very sad, but it's also very on brand for George. See, he's not actively admitting that he is almost jealous of Max going, but it feels that way just for the simple fact that he refuses to go and is coming up with excuses for it.
You just don't get it, do you?
Now, George actually asks Benny why she never took him, even though they lived just 30 minutes away from the park. Benny obviously is going to claim that she did. Now, Benny ends up actually calling George out on all this BS that he's spewing on her, because even though he's right, you know, why didn't you take me to Disneyland when I was a kid? Benny ends up hitting George with this one cold line.
I tell you what I don't. If taking your kid to Disneyland is such a big deal, then why aren't you there with Max?
And just like that, George is on board. He is going to Disneyland to have a great time with his kid.
You know what, Mom? You're right. I should be there.
Except he has one problem.
Ernie blocked me and I need a ride to Disneyland.
And now this one problem is going to make Benny go as well. Now this right here alone is crazy. George and Benny at Disneyland together the way that it should have been.
You think Tinkerbell is here?
Yeah, I'm looking right at her.
They are not screaming at each other. They are not bickering. They are having a great time.
I can't believe I thought I would hate this place, Mom. It's amazing.
Amazing is this many people think they look good in cargo shorts.
And I think what matters the most is that it's Benny he's going with. It's not Vic. It's not Ernie. It's not Angie. It's not even his kids. It's Benny.
Mouse ears. I always wanted those. Oliver, you should cherish this day.
Eventually, George and Benny end up running into the family at the teacup ride.
Look, there's some grown-ups on them.
Teacup ride. Now, honestly, this is kind of symbolic because the teacup ride is childish, it's playful, it's iconic. Now, what's interesting about this is that George is having a great time. You know, he's literally dropping all the walls down that he built, when the entirety of the show shows you that George believes him being raised tough is honestly better. It's what's given him a better edge.
I thought you were gonna get sick, Mom.
Dad, what are you and Grandma doing here?
I felt bad about not being with you, so I came down to find you.
But it's like Disneyland literally proves him wrong. It's shows him something that he deep down knows, and it's that having a great childhood is actually the best thing.
Max, I'm sorry I couldn't be here with you, okay? But let me make it up to you, all right? Next weekend, we'll come down here. We'll come here early. We'll go on all the rides. It'll be a guy's day, me and you, Max.
Now, throughout this whole episode, we get to see a little bit of Carmen and Zach beginning to date, and how Zach is willing to push boundaries and Carmen is so quick to give in. And it's just sad, honestly. The best part of this episode is that Benny's and George's dynamic gets a little bit softer, and it makes it feel genuine because they still joke, they still are sarcastic with each other, but it's not as heavy as it usually is. See, George doesn't need Benny to all of a sudden become Angie. He just needs her to be there. At the end of the episode, we get to see that George goes back to Disneyland by himself.
I knew it! You went to Disneyland without me.
Max, it's not what it looks like.
And though the ending is funny, it's honestly kind of perfect.
What's this?
I don't know, it's your yard.
My ears.
Because it's like once George finally gets to experience that, he likes it. So honestly, it felt like maybe it was just a network doing like this big promotional event for Disneyland, right? But even though like it was just about, you know, doing this contest for Disneyland and having the audience find Mickey signs to see who would win that contest, underneath all of that, this is actually one of the better George and Benny episodes. And it literally takes a Disneyland trip to remind George of everything that he had missed when he was a kid. But the best part is that he got to enjoy all of that with Benny. For one moment, they are not fighting over the past, and they are sharing an actual moment in the present. That is honestly as close to healing as this show gets for them. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down below. Hit the like, drop a subscribe. Thank you guys so much for the support. I'm gonna continue to post a little bit more daily now that I have a little bit of found time, so be ready for that. As always, hope you guys have a great day. I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.
The women in my family are off limits, except that one.
What kind of car you got?